Hello, beautiful, beloved twin flames. I have a message for you today, and it's funny because I have been trying really hard, and in some ways, almost like forcing this message to come through because I've been aware now that I've started putting videos up that I kind of started to put a little bit of pressure on myself to say, I have to put another update up, and because previously the information, the messages had been really flowing through me and kind of being really urged to put these messages up, and then I've kind of done a little bit of a quieten down, and then today I was like, oh, come on, I've really got to get out a message to these twin flames. I'm sure there must be some kind of information ready to be put out there. And so I've kind of been in this kind of waiting, holding, but just getting along with my day, and just kind of went out and played, with my daughter, and had a game of tennis, and just got on with my day and did some gardening and tried to kind of just get on with my daily life, and not worry too much about this twin flame stuff. And then just as I was just making myself a cup of tea this evening, as the day is coming to an end, I got shown the messages that I am to share with you. So, and it was on the back of a packet of something in my cupboard that I opened, and I saw the words preparation, and they just jumped out at me, and I was like, that's what I'm meant to talk about today. So, so most of us, I'm just talking to people that we're all on different stages, twin flames, different parts of the journey at different stages, but, there's a generalized feeling of us at least being aware and acknowledging that those of us that have recognized ourselves as being twin flames through getting those signs and synchronicities and jaw-dropping kind of situations that have made us wake up and go, oh my gosh, something really intense is happening here. This person that's come into my life has, made all these things happen. And, whether or not you believe that they are your twin flame or not, it's enough to make you sort of jump up and realize I've got a, mission to do. I've still got my mission to do. So carrying on with that anyway. And that whilst many are in union, we're still in the stage of preparing for something bigger. That we've been alerted, something's on its way. We know that we're in some kind of phenomena. We know that this, and this is happening, and we know that what we don't know is happening as well. But whatever it is, we are still in kind of like a preparation stage. So the message that I got today was to kind of use the analogy of a journey. So let's just say, we'll use the analogy of going traveling. So I've decided, hey, I'm going to take my journey off to, let's just say I'm going to go to South America. This is just an example. And, this is what I'm going to need in my backpack to take with me. And, you lay out your itinerary and you get it all ready, and you might read some guidebooks and look at some maps and get yourself as prepared as possible, and maybe even learn the language. And then, you get to that place and it's all amazing, and you've got everything in your backpack that's set up to go, ready to go, and you've learnt the language and you've read the map, and then, you get there, and let's just say the first day you arrive, your backpack gets stolen, and all your money gets stolen, and suddenly you've got nothing, and some of you may have experienced something like this in the real life. And so the twin flame journey is, I'm comparing it to that, because you think you kind of know what you're doing, and you think you've got everything ready, and you think you've sort of got as much information as you can, but then suddenly you realize that you've got to let all the stuff go that you thought you knew about before. It's actually, rather than preparing your bag full of stuff, you're actually constantly throwing the stuff out along the way that you no longer need. So there's a lot of the letting go process of people, belief systems, emotional baggage, and pain that we carry, the patterns that we hold on to, that we thought was the way. The programs, we're really moving through a lot of that, and a lot of us are doing that really actively and working so hard on that and clearing and cleansing away a lot and dissolving a lot of old timelines and lineages, and so so that's all that baggage that's kind of getting thrown out along the way. Sorry, I'm just getting disturbed, so I'm going to pause it and come back. Okay, so coming back again. Sorry about that. So yeah, so basically what we're throwing out of the backpack that we no longer needed was our doubts and our confusions and our fears, and we're replacing that with a much lighter load. So, rather than lugging around all this heavy weight, we're now replacing that luggage with beautiful faith, because we're trusting our intuition more. We're no longer getting attached to outcomes or things needing to be a certain way. We're really letting go, and we're just being, that's full trust of the situation. We're sort of in surrender to the divine plan. So we've kind of handed over our need to control things and for them to be a certain way. And these are all really good skills to have when you go traveling in the real world. So we really need these skills as well when we're in, because what we'll find is that when we're in that state of being, that if we hold on to something and have a plan, and it, sometimes we can miss out on something if we're really trying to control a situation. I've done that traveling myself. I remember when I first went traveling, I was really hung on to the guidebook, the Lonely Planet, and I had to do it this certain way. And I'm pretty sure that I probably missed out on a lot of other experiences that were happening, that could have happened if I'd taken another road or a different pathway, or thrown the book away, and just trusted myself. And maybe I would have met different people, and eventually on my journey, when I got more confident with myself and trusted myself more, I was able to do that, and eventually did throw away the Lonely Planet, and I had actually a much better time, and ended up actually falling in love and meeting my daughter's husband and having an amazing time. So so it's just these kind of things that are really helpful. And the other thing is, that's another really useful thing to have in our backpack, is that we're really there for ourselves, that we look out for ourselves, that we protect ourselves above all else, that we're not really needing, because a lot of people, also, let's just say, and using travelling as an example, are really scared to go travelling by themselves, and they feel like they need someone else to go with them to hold their hand, and sort of, and in some ways it's fun because you can experience that journey with someone else and share the time that you're having. But what you may also find is that you'll end up doing things that maybe you didn't want to do, or trying to please that other person, and then putting your own needs aside. And sorry, I'm getting disrupted again. I'm going to have to pause. Right, sorry about this. So radical self-love, that is just, being there for yourself and trusting yourself. Again, I remember when I started my traveling, a big overseas journey, and I wanted to travel with somebody, and then halfway along that journey they got sick and they had to leave, and I had to make a big decision. Did I want to carry on traveling in a country that was quite challenging as a single woman to travel in, or did I want to just bail out and take the safe and easy road? And I just decided to challenge myself and take that step and go do it on my own. And I had to become, my own best friend, and so that, I would be there for myself. I had to step in and be my own best friend and my own protector, and I had the best time, and it was really exciting and wonderful. So, so the other thing, when we're traveling, that's also really helpful, that I used to find, because I was a tour guide for a long time, taking tours in India, and I used to find that we'd have some long travel days. Often, the train was supposed to leave at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and get in at 9 o'clock at night, let's say, for example. And typical India trains, no matter how many times you told the passengers, it's really likely that the train might be late, or if we're really lucky, it might depart on time. And sometimes we'd have the train depart on time, but then along the way we'd slow down, or we'd get stuck, or we'd get held up for whatever reason. And I used to find people get really frustrated, that we wouldn't get there on time, and they'd just be kind of sitting there twiddling their thumbs, waiting and waiting. And for me, part of the excitement of travelling is just being where you are and enjoying that moment. And as I used to say, it's not it's not the destination, it's the journey that really matters. And a lot of people get really hung up on needing to be at that place and needing to, and that anything else along the way is just kind of an annoyance because they just can't wait to be there. And that's not being present, that's not being in the moment. And again, you miss out on all these amazing things that can happen along the way. So, and again, sometimes things don't always go according to plan. Sometimes, trains would get diverted, or we'd get on and find out that the carriage that we were on was only going so far, and then we had to get off halfway. And some people would see that as an inconvenience, but other people would see that as just an exciting part of the adventure. And, if things don't work out the way that you expected them or wanted them to, let's not have a tantrum about it. Let's go and explore what else might be in that town. Let's just say, if we get diverted, we could find something else that's amazing that we could learn from, or, just enjoy the scenery along the way. Like if things get, and even if things get boring sometimes and not much is happening, go and get a good book to read, and talk to another person. It's just about enjoying the journey as well, and not just So I think this is the analogy that I wanted to share with you, because I really think it might help with some of the issues that we face along the way, and just I'm also getting kind of a clearer picture, a little bit more about the baggage. So again, I used to find that I started off carrying quite a big lot of stuff in my luggage, and then eventually, because I travelled a lot, I would just find a way to make my bag just smaller and smaller and smaller, and the less things that I needed, the better. So that's a lot about just travelling light, just keeping everything really light, keeping a really positive attitude, getting rid of whatever it is that we don't need to lug around with us anymore. And so just acknowledging that we are on a journey, and we haven't reached our destination yet, and there are certain things that are going to make our journey more comfortable, and there are certain things that are going to make our journey more difficult, and can also get us stuck along the way. So just be mindful of those things and use the analogies. I like analogies. I think they really work. So anyway, I hope that message helped you today, and I'm wishing you all well, and lots of love.